Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Man, We're Too Old for This, here on the Nerd Eternal Network. I'm your host, the experience that some call Jason, and with me today is...
CDL 113, the droid you're looking for.
And the Todd Father.
And today we're just going to go over some news that's caught our attention.
AKA Slow News Week.
Slow-ish, I guess. I don't know. Well, let's see. The big news for me that's got me excited is in a few days, either the 19th or the 20th, I forget exactly which, the new Marvel Multiverse role-playing game is coming out. And this is a game Marvel's putting out itself, which I think is their second attempt at putting out their own.
Yeah.
Because you had the Diceless one a couple of games back that I think Marvel actually published it. It did not do well.
No.
But just to give a real brief history, in the 80s, TSR, the company that used to do D&D, they did a Marvel game that is much beloved, and if you type in Classic Marvel Forever, you can find sites with all the books and characters, and there's plenty of people still playing that one.
Yeah.
And then shortly after Wizards of the Coast bought them, they released a card-based one that I don't think did very well, though people that played it, say it was pretty good. But it didn't get any support. It was something TSR was already getting ready to do. And once they were bought out, the new company went ahead and published it. But then you had the Diceless one. Then you had it was based off the Cortex system. It was that last one that we played in. That was it was pretty fun for playing the established characters, but it basically just had a paragraph telling you to do whatever you wanted to as far as making a character. And there wasn't much in the way of advancing stuff.
Fun, though. I mean, especially like for a one-off.
Yeah, like I said, if you just wanted to do a quick story with established characters, it was fine. We certainly had some fun with it. But it was being published by a third party. And while it was getting good reviews, and I think it was selling decent, it wasn't enough to make up for the cost of the Marvel license.
Yeah.
Which I think is why you haven't had one since then. But of course, Marvel doing it themselves, they ain't got to worry about it.
Yeah, and you always have the juggernaut that is Disney now too.
But rules are being written, or the book is being written by Matt Forbeck. He's written all kinds of novels. He's written all kinds of games. He's done at least 2 editions of the Marvel Encyclopedia for Marvel, so he's at least somebody that knows gaming and knows the setting. So
that's a good combination.
Yeah, I've got high hopes for it. They released a preview where you see Spider-Man's character sheet and stuff, and I can see lots of bits and bobs that they've plucked from other systems. Karma, which appeared in the original game, is back. The original game, they call the rule set Phase Rip now, based on the first letters of each of the stats. Well, this go around, the way the stats break down, it spells out Marvel. So that's kind of a cute little thing.
Yeah. I look forward to playing it. It's one of those kind of things where I play those kind of things and play established people. It's one thing for me to create somebody in something like Mutants and Masterminds or something like that, but if I'm playing Marvel or DC, I'm gonna play somebody from Marvel or DC because the trick is, to be honest, your created characters are usually just a knockoff of some damn body that already exists. So playing my super soldier character Sentinel in Marvel is pointless because you got Captain America, Isaiah Bradley, and a million different fucking super soldiers running around, so there's no point.
Yeah. But and I say the game is dropping is really the play test. They're selling the play test for $10, which, to be getting the physical book for that, that is them, not selling it at cost, but because it is Disney. But but that's relatively inexpensive, so we'll try that out.
Yeah, that's one that if it's something that looks like we might actually play long term, hell, I might even get a copy of that my damn self just because I like having, Marvel character encyclopedia type shit.
Even though you know most of them's history backwards and forwards.
Well, the trick is I know most of them's history backwards and forwards at a time when I was really reading it, so that's probably going up to about 2016, something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm 4 to 5 years behind on some of them just because I don't fuck with it like I used to.
Yeah.
Now, another little bit of gaming news. Hasbro, who owns Wizards of the Coast, that owns D&D, has bought D&D Beyond, which, despite the name, was a separate entity. Actually, the company that runs it is based out of Huntsville, Alabama, which I know is where you two live.
Did not know that.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't know that you lived in Huntsville?
No, I knew I lived in Huntsville, but I didn't know that the D&D Beyond was based in.
I was fixing to say, oh, poor daddy.
But yeah, it's based up there. My buddy Heath that runs Dire Bear is involved with them sometimes.
Okay.
But anyway, so of course all the immediate response was countdown till they ruin it. But that's just the internet for you.
Yeah.
Makes sense that they would pull that in-house though. Especially since Wizards of the Coast has tried doing their own D&D software and it did not go well back in the 3rd edition days.
Yeah. About the only thing they got put out was the character sheet generator, and it was very limited.
Yep. But so that's the news I've got on the gaming front.
Okay, I guess I'm next. On CW, The Flash, I think I'm the only one out of the group that still watches the CW shows. Got reports that The Flash may end after an abbreviated 9th season. Grant Gustafson signed a deal for return for the 1 season, season 9. And so he and 2 others, the only original cast members still left. The actress that plays Snow and the actress that plays his wife.
Yeah, Candace Pat.
Yeah.
Candace Pat.
And the reason for that is the actor that's playing Joe has gotten a job to play a part on another show, another channel. So he'll be leaving the Jesse L. Martin, that's his name.
Ha! They're finally killing Joe.
Said how he's going to leave.
They ain't gonna kill his ass. That son bitch that death been waiting on Joe for 8 goddamn seasons. They finally murking Joe.
Well, they said he would be leaving the show, but would have a couple of cameo spots in season 9.
As a ghost.
So,
motherfucker be a ghost. He's a superhero parent and a black dude married to a black woman. That son of a bitch is breaking reality by continuing to live. He gotta go. The last season I would watch this go, Joe still alive? Fuck?
Yeah.
How the hell is Joe still alive?
The actor had some health issues
Yep.
kept him out of the last 2.5 seasons.
Yeah, he had something happen to his back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna murk his ass there.
Yeah, he injured his back offset, and the times that they would have him in the episodes, he would either be sitting at a desk or sitting in a chair. They didn't make him get up and move around a lot because the damage was bad enough. He had to have, I think it's 2 back surgeries.
Yeah, something like it.
And then his recovery time, even now on the season that he's in, when you see him, he's either sitting down or he's standing fairly still. Like on the last night's episode, he was standing there and he was leaned up against the counter, or he was standing there with his arms crossed where he wasn't doing a lot of moving around.
Yeah.
You had an episode real early in the season where it was Joe and the new police captain, because Joe's character retired, and you had an episode where they interacted with each other and went out to solve a crime. And if you paid close attention, the moving scenes where he's up doing things, and they always shot him from behind, and it was his stunt double that was doing that. And if they did a close up, you know, he would.
That's one of those kind of things. If I was a writer, I'd have a scene where he looked at his wife and just said, "Baby, you're killing my back," because he got a hot ass younger wife. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure she's killing his back.
Yeah.
Well, you have a villain throw him up against the wall, then you can make the back injuries like, you know, just part of it.
That's kind of what they did to explain why he wasn't out and about for a little bit. They had a scene where his character got injured on the show, and he had to kind of convalesce. But the injury in real life took longer, so they just kind of like had him. I think he was out of town, and they would have him pop up, you know, on a video chat or some crap like that, or a phone call.
But yeah, I was toward the end. I was watching that show only for Candace Patton and Danielle Nicolette, and then I found Instagram, so now I don't have to worry about that shit.
Yeah, but CW has yet to renew the Legends of Tomorrow or Batwoman for new season, and they haven't gave any word about the Nomi, whether it's going to get a second season or not. For now, Superman and Lois gets a third season, and a decision about Stargirl season 4 is expected later on in the third season of the summer.
Yeah, the Arrowverse could die. Who cares? Half the shit was crap anyway. I mean, I stopped watching The Flash because hell, every fucking season was
a speedster.
Yeah, it was like, it's Barry Allen, I'm the fastest man in the world. No, you're not. You're the fastest dude this season, because that's the storyline every fucking every season is, oh God, somebody showed up this faster than me. Now I have to train to get faster. It got very dragon. Like I said, I was there for the eye candy. I was like, she's cute. I'll watch her read the phone book, and then eventually, like I said, I discovered Instagram. I was like, holy shit, I can see her without being bored. Sweet God, this is wonderful. Legends of Tomorrow was shit from episode 1. Batwoman was a bad joke. Yeah, half that shit was like, why is this crap on? Why does it keep staying on? Sweet God in heaven, won't somebody mercifully let this shit in? You know, I hate for some of them to be out of work. But by that same token, sweet God in heaven, it's not like it was good. They just weren't. CW was real good for having like a good first season.
Yeah.
Except in the case of Legend of Tomorrow and Batwoman, which started out as just pure shit. They were steaming dumps from episode 1. It was like, oh good God, this damn thing horrible. I can't get all the way through this shit. But Flash had a good first season. Supergirl, when it was on, had a real good first season.
Arrow had a good first. I think the third season.
Could not get into Arrow at all. I mean, I tried to watch the first episode of Arrow 4 times on demand, and I kept going to sleep on it. It's Green Arrow. I don't give a fuck. It's like, it's a dude.
Yeah, he was the CW Batman for.
Yeah, and that's the trick. If I want Batman, I want Batman. I don't want Green Arrow with Batman's villains. I would never forgive them for what they did to Mr. Terrific, who at the time was like, I was really into Mr. Terrific in the Justice Society book. And I was all jazzed and shit. Like, oh, hell yeah, they're going to have Mr. Terrific. And they just fucked him up. It was like,
Several of the characters, they did the CW spin on them and didn't do them like they should have been.
Well, the trick with Terrific, I should have known. I had a sneaking suspicion they would go fuck Mr. Terrific up because he was on a show with Green Arrow, and Mr. Terrific is a cooler character than Green Arrow. He just is. So you could not have comic book Terrific on a show with Green Arrow and Green Arrow be like the main hero. He immediately becomes Jimmy Olsen because he ain't shit. I mean, just income. So, you know, for them to make Arrow kind of the alpha male of the damn thing, by necessity, anybody they brought on there with him, they would have to nerf the fuck out of him to make him fit. You know, there's no way in hell Michael Holt would have followed that jackass. It just wasn't. Hell, he's infinitely smarter, infinitely richer, infinitely more capable. There's nothing that Oliver Queen just ain't got shit on Michael Holt at all. So they gave you whatever the hell they changed. Because if I remember right, the Arrow version is not Michael. They changed his first name and shit.
Yeah.
Turned him into that doof that got knocked out at the beginning of every fight. And apparently, the only fucking ability he had was turn that fucking afro into cornrows at the drop of a fucking hat.
Yeah, that was one of the things that always amazed me.
Yeah, that was the dumbest fucking shit. This motherfucker's running around with a full Michael Jackson ass afro. The hell, he's morphing into fucking cornrows in seconds. It's like, hell, as Barry Allen showed up, hell, as Iris taught this motherfucker how to braid hair. And Barry showed up braiding his bastard's hair before he goes out. Get the fuck out of here.
Nanites, man, nanites. Explains everything.
That would make a better explanation than they ever tried to do.
He got hair weaving nanites.
No. He's bald. The hair is the nanites. And they just shift configuration. You know, you throw in a Transformer sound effect and it's perfect.
Transformer sound effect would make him too cool. I say go all the way back to the $6 million man.
Yes.
What kind of cheesy shit was that? Yeah, motherfucker's bald. Don't worry about
it. They did everything they could to make his particular character
suck. Maybe he didn't suck.
Yeah. But that was my news about the Flash and the actors and actresses.
And my news is supposed to be about how Jason Aaron is ruining Thor and Avengers. I don't know how much that's actually news, because anybody that read Jason Aaron's run on Thor knows that motherfucker runs Thor every chance he gets. So, but he's doing a one. I don't know if it's going to be a one shot or a limited series or what the hell kind of. I don't know how long this train wreck is going, but he's finally doing his Avengers 1 million BC team in a book, and it's supposed to reveal Thor's true parentage, which, you know, this motherfucker's been saying is Phoenix now in his entire fucking run of Avengers. And it's going to be something that's not going to jive with the main Thor book. You know, so
what happened to it being Gaia and Odin?
That's what I'm telling you. That's just it. That's Jason Aaron's mark on Thor. His latest mark on Thor is that his real mother is the Phoenix. Because when Odin was on the 1 million BC team with the first, I guess that's supposed to be the first Phoenix, they knocked boots and Thor was a result. So, like, in the Avengers now, you have Thor, like, calling on Phoenix forces and shit like that. As if that makes Thor more powerful than he originally was. But it doesn't. That's just the point. The Phoenix Force ain't shit compared to an elder god. The reason why Thor was so damn stout in Marvel was because his mother's an elder god. His dad is a Sky Father, and his mother's an elder god. If you really want to go back into Marvel history, that's the reason why Thor, most Asgardians, when they came to Earth, got weaker, got progressively weaker. Thor didn't, because his mother's the Earth. It's a reason why Thor was stronger than most Asgardians. He was stouter than most Asgardians because of his parentage. It wasn't so much that he was the son of Odin, it was that he was the son of Gaia. That's an elder god blood backing him. And it's not going to match because in I'm blanking on the guy's name now. The current Thor writer, he's Donny Cates. In Cates' run, they had him fighting the sentient storm that was inside of Mjolnir, which is another gift from Jason Aaron, from the mind of Jason Aaron, that all of a sudden, you know, Jason's whole thing is he's got a weird thing with like gender, patriarchy, and all this kind of weird shit. You know, Mjolnir in Jason Aaron's run couldn't just be what it always had been. It's a chunk of rock with an enchantment on it. That's it. Under Aaron's thing, Odin took the mother of all storms, which was a feminine storm. I don't know how the hell a fucking storm has gender. But it took a sentient feminine storm and basically imprisoned her in Mjolnir, and that's the reason why Mjolnir, had control of weather and shit like that, was because Odin basically trapped a chick inside it. So, like, during Aaron's run with Jane Foster, like, Mjolnir, that's when you find out all of a sudden Mjolnir's, like, sentient, all this kind of shit that would appear to Jane as a girl, and it's like, the was a fucking chunk of stone.
Yeah, and Thor is the god of
that was all.
He can always, without the hammer in his hand, he can cause storms and lightning and shit.
Mjolnir was really just a weapon. It wasn't.
Yeah, he was a focus.
Because they always kind of played around with in some of the stuff Mjolnir was calling the storms. Then later on, you had things where it was going, no, I ain't calling him. He's the god of thunder. He kind of calls them. It just kind of gives him a little bit more control over what he's doing. But anywho,
this is
you've had the god storm inside of Mjolnir bonded with the man Gog and went insane and killed Odin and killed Broxton, Oklahoma, and killed everybody in Nidavellir and all. It just went complete apeshit. But in that story, you had Thor call upon his mother's power. When he was on Earth, he called upon Gaia's power. Yeah, and did some shit because he's the son of the Earth. So I don't know how in the hell that. So when they do this goofball shit with, the Phoenix is Thor's mama, that means it's gonna be.
Unless Gaia was a Phoenix, that shit's some.
It's gonna be damn near. It's damn near just gonna be the Avengers book and the mainline Thor book must be in two separate fucking universes or something because none of this shit is lining up. So, but that's Jason Aaron. Jason Aaron has been the worst fucking writer on Thor that I've experienced in my 40-some years of dealing with the comics and hell, my maybe 25 years of reading Thor. I mean, his shit is just garbage. He came in with Gore the God Killer. And that's his big claim to fame is you have people act like Gore the God Killer was just the greatest fuck. That story wasn't shit. I mean, hell, Gore himself is a knockoff of Desik the God Slayer, which was a hell of a lot neater character. He was cool looking. His powers made better sense. All Gore basically is a fucking alien with a symbiote. Because he's got the All Black, which was Null's sword. It was the first symbiote. The first symbiote that he created. Yeah, it made a blade. He had He had two dragons and a blade. And that's the All Black. It's a neat sounding name for a weapon that does neat shit, but yeah, they bound it to this fucking alien. He's Gore the God Killer, and the shit, it's overrated. You had a lot of people act like that was the greatest fucking thing since sliced bread. That shit was overrated. It was whack as fuck. Aaron is the one that came in where you had the 3 eras of Thor in each book. Where you had the real young Thor that didn't have Mjolnir yet, that had Jarlbjorn. You had the modern day Thor, and then you had old King Thor, who was like the last Asgardian. It was under Aaron's run that hell, Thor lost his arm. He wasn't worthy. He lost an eye. Jane Foster's running around there as Thor. And just about, the first run of Donny Cates was fixing Thor physically. The whole reason he made him Herald of Galactus was to give him his eye and his arm back. So this is more. Jason Aaron's run on Avengers is every bit as abysmal as his run on Thor was. I hear tell that he actually told good stories, I think in Ghost Rider or somewhere. I wish he'd go the fuck back because his runs on Thor and the Avengers are just shit. He was the one that had She-Hulk running around looking like a dude for most of the time. and then got in his feelings when Marvel was like, "Hey, we're getting ready to do the She-Hulk TV show. You know, make it look like she did back originally." And he got up in his feelings and did a story where he changed her back and then immediately threw her off the team. You know, because She-Hulk looking like a woman was a problem for him.
I blame not having an editor-in-chief that knows what their job is supposed to be and knows that Marvel used to have what they called the Marvel Bible. I blame Marvel for not having, you know, an editor-in-chief that knows the job and not following the old school Marvel Bible that they used to keep, you know, like, okay, this is the character, this is what he can and can't do, or what she can or can't do. You know, this is their history. If you want to add to or try and take away, you got to get it cleared by not only the editor-in-chief, but, you know, some of these other folks that
Marvel's editors right now have a problem saying no. Period. Just no. And that's the thing is, things like Thor's parentage should be a no. Yeah. That's because that's not only dealing with one, you actually have a fucking Norse myth to go back to. You're fucking around with Stan and Jack. I don't give a fuck who you think you are, Jason Aaron, Donnie Cates, who the fuck ever. You ain't half the writer that Stan, you ain't the creators that Stan Lee and Jack Kirby were. Leave it the fuck alone.
Yeah.
You want to create somebody new? Great. You want to come up and do stupid shit like, well, I'm going to make Thor's Mama the Phoenix. And that's going to be my stamp on the character. Dude, your stamp's on the character. You done enough. Sit your ass down. So.
You want to do a story in another dimension, you know, another world where, hey, you're not the 616, but in the, you know, 785 universe, that was what happened? Okay, fine. That's right. That's a one shot. You make it work, you know.
But that's not what they want to do. They want to put their mark on the character.
Yeah, and that's it. And that's what I'm saying. And the editor of the book and the editor-in-chief should stop that.
Yeah,
put their foot down and go, no.
And that's the point. You don't, when you read Marvel comics these days, and truthfully it's the same is true for DC.
Yeah.
You can tell that they do not have an editor that goes, no, you can't do that. You can't take what your betters have created and piss on it to make it yours some kind of fucking way.
Well, one thing I've noticed is, I mean, if you go back and you read the old stuff, bits of the background were always shifting and changing slightly over time. But what you got now is every writer that comes in just burns it all to the ground so they can do their own thing.
Yeah,
pretty much. They want to put their stamp on the character. And the trick is, the ones that put the stamp on the character is people that took what existed and did cool shit with. Walt Simonson. Walt Simonson has got the greatest fucking run on Thor, period, ever, period. I defy you to find somebody that's got a better run on the Mighty Thor than Walt Simonson. You give the fucking shit up. He gave you Malekith, Surtur, Curse. He fought the Midgard Serpent. I mean, that's some epic level. Beta Ray Bill is his creation.
Yeah.
That's some epic level shit there. These hacks that come in now, I'll make Thor unworthy. Nobody gives a fuck about it. I'll make Jane Foster Thor. She won't be. Even that wasn't new because I was talking to a guy about that a couple of weeks ago. You had a what if? What if Jane Foster had the power of Thor where she was Thordis? But she was Thordis, which means she wasn't Thor. I'm going to come in, because that whole names don't mean shit, gender don't mean shit. Everybody is one big blob of nothing.
Well, hey, during the run for the guy that created Beta Ray Bill that you were talking about, you had a storyline that dealt with the future, and you had Thor's daughter become Thor.
Yeah, you've had
better versions.
Even the story with Desik the Godslayer, you had Thor girl who you ended up finding out who turned out to be the designate, which was the one that empowered Desik the Godslayer by the time it was all over. You've had that kind of shit. But that's not the mark. Their whole mark was, it's instead of whosoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, should possess the power of Thor, all of a sudden it's she, and then it's they, and then it's it, and dude, just stop. He hooked up Thor and She-Hulk, where She-Hulk looked like the dude and Thor looked like the chick. In size difference and build and all kinds of just weird shit. Bruh, if that's your thing, go on. You know, I'm sure there's some corner of the fucking indie universe where people want to read that shit. Keep your ass out of Marvel. Have an editor-in-chief that, like back in the day when Peter David, who had an epic run on Incredible Hulk, said, hey, I want to make a peak Hulk that's feminine. And the editor, hell no. And he said, well, if you don't let me do this, then I quit. And they say, well, you know, you had a good run. I'll at you. Don't let these motherfuckers ruin 60, 70, 80-year-old characters with this bullshit. It ain't gonna fly. It's not gonna fly. The first writer that gets the chance to erase the shit is gonna erase the shit. So there's no point. That, you know, that kind of drastic fucking changes that, you know, there's no fucking point. You'd be better off coming up with a knockoff that does that shit that's gonna disappear in a couple of years any fucking way.
Yeah.
You want to do all that? Make Thunderstrike's Mama the Phoenix. Who the fuck cares? It's Thunderstrike. You'd be glad to see his ass. That shit ain't gonna last with Thor. What the fuck are you doing? It's like him hacking him to pieces. Chopped off his arm, chopped off his eye, made him unworthy. You knew that shit. You knew that shit the second you got a new writer. The second I touched Donny Cates' book, the first thing I knew, they're going to wipe out all that book.
Yep. But it's not like they haven't done that shit before, because I remember Iron Man, before they came out, we're going to do an Iron Man movie. And you had some of the crazy shit going on in that damn book, and all of a sudden, wait, we're going to have a movie. All right, we need Tony Stark back. We need him on the wagon. We need him doing this, and he's cool again.
Yep.
Everything needs to default back to, you know, what's kept the book in business since the 60s.
Yeah.
And for some reason they just don't have the stones. Another bit of comic news that I did see before I came over here, and I'll try and make this quick.
Yeah, we do need to wrap up.
Eric Larson, the guy that did Savage Dragon.
Yeah.
Well, is still doing Savage Dragon, I think.
Well, yeah. But Eric Larson basically came out and was like, you know, comics' original sin were all the characters were straight and white, but he's against basically race swapping characters and stuff like that. I agree with him partially in that, yeah, everybody was white. The whole straight thing, when you go back and really, when you look at old school comics, like when I started, nobody had a significant other. Even if you try and go Superman and Lois Lane, that was a love triangle where nobody so much got a kiss. Because Clark liked Lois liked Superman, not Clark.
Yeah.
Superman didn't fuck with her, and Clark couldn't get nowhere with her. So it was a distinction without a difference. She was literally just there to be kidnapped by somebody.
Yeah.
They didn't have girlfriends. About the only something that actually had like a girlfriend was Fantastic Four.
And even then, when she first popped up, Sue was the invisible girl. She was there to be the quote unquote.
They were kind of the perpetual victim.
Yeah.
Which was what Steve Trevor was for Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
He was a perpetual victim. But nobody got lucky. Nobody was knocking boots. Yeah, because they remember the shit was for children. So your sexual orientation wasn't coming into it because it was for people that truthfully, if you were a guy, superhero comics are primarily for guys at an age when hell you thought girls had cooties.
Yeah.
So the last damn thing you were doing was wanting to see your favorite hero booed up with some chick because hell you thought chicks had critters on them. Man, it's just fact.
Yeah, it wasn't until the 60s and 70s that you actually saw heroes take a girl out on a date.
Daredevil and Black Widow made history because they were the first comic book characters to live together without being married. They lived together.
Yeah.
But you had to get into like the 80s, late 70s, 80s for that kind of shit.
Well, I was gonna say, I can remember folks talking about the X-Men predated me being alive. Okay, I was born in 1970. The X-Men popped up in the mid-60s.
Right. This is proving to not be quick, and we do need to wrap up.
Okay. But that made a big deal about, not family living under one roof. You had boys and girls that weren't family. And I can remember somebody that kind of grew up in that generation. You had church groups going, hey, our kids don't need to be reading this.
Even though you had private schools way back before the X-Men books, but okay.
Yeah, that was how X-Men got along with that was school. But anyway, that was one bit of comic news that I thought about that. I saw that this morning. I was like, hey, yeah, I partially agree with that. My thing is create new people. I don't coming as a 47-year blurred. I'm not impressed with Black Batman because I know you're gonna make him inferior to Bruce Wayne as soon as you do it. So I don't give a shit. I liked Val Zod. I thought the concept of Val Zod was neat. He was fucked up. He should have been more powerful than Clark just based on black absorbed sun though. But you knew they wasn't gonna do that shit. He wasn't gonna be stouting Clark Kent. Fuck out of here. So what the hell's the point of doing it? It's the shit ends up being cheap dime store knockoffs, pandering to people that I don't need to be pandered to. I'd rather read the Blue Marvel than Val Zod. I'd rather have Monica Rambeau than a Black Aunt May. I don't give a fuck about a Black Aunt May. I don't give a fuck about Wallace West. He's what, 6, 7 Flash characters down. Who the fuck cares? Yeah. So anyway, that's my rant. Wrap it up.
All right, so hope you enjoyed it. Hope some of this news was useful. If there's any news out there that we didn't mention that you think we should have or that you'd like to hear us talk about, feel free to let us know. You can drop us a line at thenerdeternal@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook. You can drop comments on YouTube. We'd love to hear from you. If you enjoy what we do, like, share, subscribe, tell your buddies. Word of mouth is, a great way to help the podcast.
All I could hear was Ron Burgundy. Sorry.
I have not mentioned jazz flute. Anyway, until next week, I've been your host, the experience of some call Jason. And with me today has been
CDL113, the droid you're looking for.
And the blurred dawn of the veil, the Todd Fall.
You stay classy.
And we will see y'all next time.